Now it is going live. Okay, so here we go.
Oh, okay.
Going live.
Go for it.
So, all right, we are live. Let me get some background music going. Oh, some light background.
I know we need to get some like hype music.
Podway through.
Wait.
DMCA.
Do you want to get us DMCA?
We don't want to get hit. We're not trying to get hit.
It was a meme.
No,
you can't target a meme.
Oh, yes, I can.
Fair use.
Music. That's probably DMCA too. I'm not even gonna bother.
It's all DMCA.
Everything is DMCA.
Everything.
Nothing.
Oh, there we go. We got a little bit of background music going right now. It's the typical 5.9.
Is it
that we've got on repeat, basically?
Yeah.
There we go. All right, and we're all live and everything. Go ahead and retweet it, guys, real quick if you want from the on Twitter.
Oh, I did. What's up, Stream Elements? Apparently, Stream Elements bot is running.
Yep.
What do you guys think about that? I mean, I think that's a bold choice, and we're gonna see how it plays out.
I wish I could read that. What is it saying?
Stream Elements bot is running.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, what does it say? So you're literally just reading off what it said. Okay, got it.
Hey, Brian, what's going on, man? Thanks for stopping by.
What up, Bat Brain?
Mr. Boomer. Someone hit his 30s already now, boys. There we go. Alrighty.
He's in the Golden Club.
Yep. But like I've always said, I had some words of wisdom for our typical community Friday streams. Make sure you check us out there, by the way. But I did say, for our generation especially, maybe not for Bobby, but for at least for our generation, if you're in your 30s, guess what? That's basically like your 20s these days. That's just the way it is. So guess what?
Yeah,
it's just the way it is. So
we don't grow up the same because of video games.
Exactly. You know? Exactly.
Like, we're still playing games. You're still like 15. Alex, what's up? Welcome.
What's going on?
I'm gonna be playing games. I'm gonna be playing games. I'm like 80. Like until I can't hold the controller no more, and like I need assistance. Like I'm gonna be playing games, stuff like that.
At that point, it'll just be linked into your brain, man. Come on.
You think we'll get to that point?
Yeah, VR will actually be the video game.
A chip in the side, a chip that goes inside of our brains. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it'll be the metaverse.
Yeah,
man.
You're right. That better happen, man, because I was promised flying cars by now, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, Back to the Future lied to me.
I'm a little upset by that. I was promised flying cars. I think we were all promised flying cars.
Flying cars, automatic shoelaces, hoverboards.
Yeah, hoverboards. Yes, dude, hoverboards. We kind of have we don't.
No, we don't.
No, because I'm thinking of that thing that like all the kids are riding nowadays, where it's like, you know what I'm talking about, where like you just tip forward. I forget what they're called. They're like weird, but
no. Yeah, hoverboards. I'm talking a good distance off the ground. Like, come on, like that's how it has to go.
We're talking, Back to the Future. That's what I think when I think hoverboards. So yeah,
and none of that Paul Blart Segway ass.
No,
like none of that.
Although it looks fun to ride though. Let's not.
I will say Kevin James did represent the Segway pretty well.
Oh man, are we live? Oh yeah, we're live now, right?
We are live. We're here with Brian and Alex, and we're just talking about Back to the Future hoverboards that we were never delivered.
As we get the show ready.
Another promise that was not delivered on by our politicians.
Oh God, now we're going politics.
Oh God! Start the podcast. Start the podcast.
The Bobby the Boomer is gonna kill our video.
Politicians start the podcast.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Waypoint Podcast. My name is Talon with 59 Direct, joined by most of the crew, Lethal and Little Bobby. Chin is currently, I think he's making a video, or he's really busy right now. He has to deal with the release of the new iPhones and everything like that. So we want to give him a little bit of a rest. He let us know that he wasn't gonna be available. But regardless, we're just gonna be here bringing the news and everything, because we didn't expect to have this podcast, and then like everything dropped. Everything dropped this week. We had Nintendo Direct, we had Sony State of Play, we had TGS 2022, and the big one that you're seeing in the title, GTA 6 leaks. Holy crap, like what the heck is going on this week? So we're like, all right, you know what? Let's suck it up here. Let's have an extra podcast. Let's make this episode 14. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and start off the big one that everyone is honestly freaking out about. And I've seen a lot of comments to say the least. I think a lot of people, it kind of shows a lot of people not really understanding how game development goes, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what you guys think. But GTA 6 leaks have been showing, and don't worry, this is not a leak that we are posting on this right here. This is from GTA 5. Looking at you, YouTube and GTA, and trying to claim and everything like that. Yeah, Rockstar. This is a GTA 5 picture. Okay, this has been out for years. This is not the actual leaks. You can go, anyone here, go find those leaks at your discretion. We're gonna simply talk about them because the moment these dropped, holy crap, like the internet almost blew up. I was surprised Twitter didn't crash. I was honestly surprised about that. I thought it would. But if you guys haven't heard, there are some leaks. I think there's actual gameplay as well. There are leaked photos and everything
there's a lot.
of GTA 6.
Yeah.
And a lot of people making the same comments saying that this game looks not good. It doesn't look ready. And I hate to be the one to say this, or maybe I don't really know. But no duh, it's not ready. This game's not supposed to be out for another like 2 years. This is what game development looks like. Like, what's going on here?
At least it was supposed to come out in 2 years.
It's supposed to come out in 2 years. Now it could be 3 years. Who knows?
Who knows what's gonna happen with that?
Shit, it doesn't look that good because it's not even close to ready yet. Now, actually, I will say some of the photos I saw, I thought it actually looked pretty decent. I thought it looked good. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? I feel like I've been rambling on here. Bobby, Lethal, what are your thoughts? What do you guys think about all these leaks and everything?
Hey, Bob, you want to go first? Want me to go first?
Go ahead. Go first.
I'll go first. So I'm one of those people that sees a leak. You know, I can be one of those people that jumps and be like, oh man, this looks bad or something like that, right? Depending on the leaked footage or whatever. But in this case, we're talking about GTA 6, a game that I think a lot of us didn't expect to drop anyways for like another, I don't know, 2-3 years or something like that.
I'm saying 2025.
Yeah, so that's why it's like I wasn't expecting to see anything crazy when I saw, but what I did see, I was pretty shocked to see. But I think it goes to show that like what can happen when early footage comes out for a game, or leaked footage in this case, and what it can do, right, to like just almost everything in terms of development, in terms of like perception of the game and stuff like that. And it's definitely one of those where it's like it's hitting different things. And so I kind of was going to go on a little tangent about like at one point I used to kind of feel like leaks, I mean it's not even that like it's wrong, I think it's still the case too, but like a leak can do a lot of good for a game sometimes, right? It can generate a lot of eyes, right? A lot of anticipation. People are not going to talk about this game because they didn't know it existed until now, and so now it becomes a topic of conversation for every like upcoming event or something. Like, oh, I hope to see this game, I hope to see this game, because we know it's a thing. There's like that aspect of it. But then there's like the other aspect of it, which I feel like I've grown to learn more and more about as I've kind of like learned more about like how development works for games, and to see like how much that can do and how much that like really hurts the development team in terms of like, I was reading some stuff from Jason Schreier, who was tweeting it, and people in the industry were talking about how like because of this now, this could push back the development even more now. I mean, this has caused problems with like, I don't know if it's like the publishing or something like that too, the marketing and everything. Like this ruins everything, and so now everything has to kind of get redone. If certain source codes got put out there, now they have to like change coding and stuff like that, like important coding, and like it actually does a lot of damage to this game. And we joked about it, but this game was set to like we were kind of saying like 2025. God knows if this gets pushed down to like 2026 or 2027 or something, if it's that bad. But I feel like my head with this is like, man, it's kind of cool to know that the game is definitely like it's definitely like there's some development to it already, because I feel like we didn't know in terms of how far in development they were with the game. It's cool to know that front, but like I think I'm gonna have too where I'm like, oh no, now I'm upset because this is gonna ruin it for a lot of people, especially people that are working on this game. If they have to redo a lot of things, I feel so bad for the developers, because that really sucks. And then you just have like the idiots in the comments who are seeing all the footage and like, this is what GTA 6 looks like. Like, I'm not playing this, I'm not gonna buy this. Like, they're not gonna get my money. And I'm like, bro, you're probably looking at footage from like 2-3 years ago or something. Who knows how far back this footage goes? I have no idea. But there's a good chance this is this isn't any probably recent build or anything. But I think that's where I'm at. headspace wise.
Well, even
Bobby, you could chime in.
Hang on, real quickly before Bobby jumps in. So even let's just say, for example, because again, we don't know exactly when this leaked footage is supposed to be from, right? It could be from 2 years ago. It could be from yesterday. Let's just say even if it's from yesterday, okay? Like they got the most recent build and it's from yesterday. The game is not expected to release until 2025 at the earliest. A lot can happen in 3 years, especially with the size of the team they most likely have on that game, right? And especially because, I'm pretty sure Rockstar's been on record for saying they have a ton of people working on this game, especially with how popular the GTA series is. I mean, look at 5 and 4 when they came out, right? Those games are huge and they're still widely supported these days. So I would not be surprised at all that it's going to look vastly different from whatever we see. It's, honestly, what it kind of reminds me of sometimes is, do you guys remember the Spider-Man PS4 puddle news? Remember that? Remember that, catastrophe that happened and all that stuff, right? This is kind of the same thing, in my opinion, where you have all these people thinking they know exactly what, game development is, and that this is what it's going to look like, and yada, yada, yada. And in reality, it's nowhere near what they think.
Yeah.
So,
and that's like one of the big ramifications of, back to what I was kind of saying about like what it can do when you leak a game, right? That's probably one of the worst things that could happen now, is that the people who don't know about video game development are going to see this and think this is what the game is going to be. And then they're all going to be like, oh, I'm not buying this. And then like this affects sales. This affects a lot of things. And so like, that's such a big part of, I think, why I start to lean more about like, oh no, it leaked. No, like this wasn't a good thing to happen, because that's the reality of it. I mean, we've seen, how about more recently, what was it? Oh my God, Last of Us 2. Remember the chaos that caused when that game leaked, and just how much I think it affected. I personally feel like it affected a little bit of that game. So it's kind of crazy to think this is happening for GTA 6. But go ahead, Bobby, you can get some words in there.
Yeah, I mean, you guys basically covered it, right? The game is not even close to being done. I saw some footage because it was all over Twitter, right? I think I woke up and I like the algorithm put your tweet in front of me from this morning, Lethal.
Way to go, Lethal.
Oh, what a way to wake up on a Sunday, right? GTA 6, like huge leaks, right? So I saw some of the footage. When you see like a character moving around and then you see like 6 arrows popping out, when you see like very obvious placeholder text and images, like that is nothing. Yeah, like that is nothing even close to being done. Yeah, or just like literally, didn't one of them say like generic whatever sound or something like that?
Yeah. It was obvious can be, but the internet,
it's not even close. And if you guys are looking at it and going, oh, I'm not buying it because that's what it's going to look like, it is not even close to look like close to gonna look like that. Like the game already looks, with what's there, it already looks like GTA 5, right? And I saw a lot of people say, oh, it looks just like GTA 5. It's like, yeah, but GTA 5 is done, and this is 2 to 2.5 years from being done.
Yep.
And you're complaining about that? Like, that's crazy. I honestly, like, from what I saw, a lot of little things are looking really good, believe it or not, especially like the little animations that they added in. I know Chin, when we were talking about it earlier in our group chat that we have, was talking about like how you can adjust your car seat. Like, yeah, that you couldn't do that in GTA 5. That's amazing. That is an insane attention to detail. If you can like recline your seat and then scoot it up and just like chill like while you're driving, that's nuts. Like, and I would love to see that, but like you cannot go into this expecting that this game at the end of this whole cycle is going to look like that. That all being said, Hacker, you're kind of a dick. Yeah, that's a simple way to put it. Like you basically screwed over, the like 900 people who are working on this game. Stealing the source code, like aside from being super illegal, it just ruins the work of all those people, and that's really crappy.
Will probably delay the game even more.
Yeah, I guarantee you. I guarantee you it's an extra year to 2 years after this. So if you guys are expecting to see it 2025, I would say
2026,
late 2026 if you're lucky. Yeah, if you're lucky. That's if they don't decide to scrap all of the source code now that it's out there, which they may, right? Obviously they built it off of Red Dead and GTA 5, but they may have to scrap the whole thing now because they're like, well, our source code is out there. If they can't track it down. Alex said in chat, this reminds me when CD Projekt Red was hacked. And yeah, it's just a huge thing, right? This is a big deal in security, and this stuff has happened a lot more recently. It's going to, as more and more stuff gets, becomes digital and everything is linked to the internet, right? Every computer is linked to the internet, every phone, right? You're gonna have people hacking into different stuff, and it's gonna do nothing but create more and more problems. And that's unfortunate. I really hope for the best for the team at Rockstar. They've been talking about how they're trying to get their stuff together recently, and the game's taking longer because they're not doing crunch as much anymore and stuff.
Which is great, by the way. I mean,
good for them.
Not having crunch is always a good thing.
Yeah, and I know last time we talked about crunch culture, and like me and Chin said, we understand it as artists because that is an artist thing. Like if you're
it's unfortunately one of those necessary evils, essentially.
Yeah,
right.
But
like you're gonna have
people. Yeah, exactly. But we don't want people to have it. Like if I could just get away with like doing my guitar lessons and not have to practice outside of that would be great. Yeah. But I have to, right? I just got a bass student who's really good, and I was like, man, I need to brush up on my bass more, so I have to practice it more this week, right? So like it's just one of those things. But from just like a human standpoint, obviously don't want that crunch. And now hopefully they don't go, well, we got to try and get this game out, now we're gonna really have to crunch. There's so many effects that this hack could have, and this person just didn't think about that, and it's kind of a D-bag move.
Just imagine like somebody just spent like maybe like a year working on a certain code or something, or a certain asset or a certain detail or something, and now they got to redo it or something like that. Like that's a year's worth possible of time that someone has to make up again. Like that's crazy. I would lose my mind. I would go crazy if that happened to me. So I can't. That sucks. It's so bad. I hate it. But you know what though? This hacker guy, he's gonna get caught.
Oh yeah,
that was Rockstar. Yeah. You just messed with Rockstar. Like you're gonna get caught, my guy. I mean, if he's not caught already, I mean, he's gonna get caught.
Did he delete all his social media accounts and everything like that because it like exposed his IP address or something like that?
I'm sure as soon as he got in there, he messed. Like it's done. I'm sure he's done.
Oh yeah, definitely done. Because Rockstar does not.
Hey, come on, like come on, Rockstar. That's a big dog. What do you, dog?
Exactly.
Dog.
So. I don't know. I hope that it hasn't messed with the developers too much, because they're the ones mostly affected by this. The managers and the higher ups and everything. This honestly is just like, it's more publicity for them essentially, right? They're now going to be trending and everything like that. But for the developers, the on-floor developers who actually make the game, I feel really bad for them, and I really hope this hasn't messed them up too much. I have a feeling it probably has. And I really hope that Rockstar actually sticks to their guns about the whole changing work crunch in the environment and everything. Take your time with this game. Just take your time with this game. If this comes out in 2027, fine.
Yeah,
but
make it what people want.
Right, but I really hope they don't look at this and be like, well, okay, sorry, developers, let's crunch it now. I really hope they don't do that. So
yeah, I agree. It's just a shame that all that work is getting just kind of tossed aside potentially because of that.
Yeah, definitely is. So, anything else you guys want to talk about it before we move on to the next little topic we got?
It does look good. Honestly.
It does. When I saw it, I'm like, it looks good. It looks good.
Yeah.
It all perfectly. Yeah, it absolutely does. So if you guys are watching this, whether it's live or if you're watching this later as a YouTube video, listen to your thoughts down in the comments or in the live chat. What are your personal thoughts? If you've seen the leaked images, leaked footage, all that stuff, what are your thoughts? Let us know down below. So anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic, which is going to be the Nintendo Direct that was talked about. We knew about it like 24 to 48 hours before it came live and everything like that. We see Bobby with the fists and everything. As you guys know, tons, like we said in the introduction, tons of information, mostly actually a lot of it from Japan, came out this week from multiple different studios, multiple different games and everything. And we had, again, the Tokyo Game Show that we're going to talk about later. But Nintendo Direct, 40 minutes. This was a big one. Had a ton of games announced, everything from Fire Emblem to the new Legend of Zelda title official, as everyone's called it, the Breath of the Wild sequel for the longest time. But now we officially have the title, which is the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which everyone is excited about. Definitely getting some I almost said Skyrim vibes, some Skyward Sword vibes in terms of the whole falling from the higher platforms down to them guessing the mainland and everything like that. Because if I remember correctly, in chronological order, this game is the quote-unquote latest game, right?
Yep.
Along with Breath of the Wild, and Skyward Sword is the start of the Zelda series and everything like that. In Nintendo's complicated way of trying to make some said timeline and all this stuff. But regardless, we finally have a title for that. We also saw literally Nintendo Direct, the farming simulator. So we've got like 5 or 10 farming simulators, no meme. And we also got some announcements for the N64 emulator games that are going to be coming out over the next few months. I do find it extremely funny that GoldenEye has multiplayer on the Switch and Xbox doesn't, but you know.
Oh yeah, okay. How do you own Rare and fuck that up? Like how?
I have to question like who owns what when it comes to GoldenEye. Like there's something with that. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, okay, so
like,
I saw an article. I saw an article about this, right? I saw an article about this, and apparently, it's the fact that the GoldenEye on Switch is obviously an emulator, right?
Yeah.
And apparently, the one that's coming out on Xbox is an upscaled version of that game. It's not emulated. It's an upscaled version of the game apparently, so it can do the whole 4K and the typical marketing stuff. And apparently, the emulator allows you able to do the multiplayer because it's all via emulation and everything or something like that, but they didn't include it in the Xbox version because again it's not based off of the old emulator. They're trying to do this upscaling and actually quote unquote remastered the game, I guess. Again, I'm probably butchering what that article said. I just happened to see it in passing as I was going to TGS in the morning, so maybe I think that seems to be the thing. But regardless, I find that extremely funny because during the Direct, Xbox or somebody posted and was like, by the way, GoldenEye coming to Game Pass day one and everything like that. And then like an hour later, by the way, no multiplayer for the Xbox, but multiplayer for the Switch. I was what?
It's like I said, at least they're finally getting couch co-op. Like they're getting split screen on something, man. Like
finally getting split screen on something, right? So anyway, so we had a bunch of N64 games shown off, and then we even got to see Crisis Core, which I've stated in the video that we have on Crisis Core that I got to play the demo at TGS and everything. The fact that is not cloud-based, I was shocked. I was ready to put money down on that. So Nintendo Direct, we had a bunch of information. So Bobby, because Lethal talked about GTA first last time, I'm gonna let you go because I know exactly what you're gonna talk about, but regardless, I'm gonna let you talk about what was your most hyped stuff and try to say something more than just Zelda. That's all I'm gonna say.
Actually, I'm hyped about a number of things. One, I am hyped about Crisis Core getting a physical release for the Switch, right? Like getting like a real direct release and not cloud-based, because like that game shouldn't have to be cloud-based on the Switch. It's not, I mean, even if they made it super pretty, like it doesn't have enough in it because it was a PSP title, right?
Yep.
Like it doesn't have enough in it to facilitate it being, like a cloud title. Like PSP games were like PlayStation 1.5, right? So if the Switch couldn't handle that, I'd be upset, right?
I can't handle Kingdom Hearts apparently, so.
Kingdom Hearts is PS2 talent, not PS 1.5.
I don't care. The fact that they were that lazy not to put it on the actual system.
That I feel like was a Square thing. I don't know why they would have done that, but that all being said, that's really cool. Harvestella, I know there was a lot of bashing on the Direct about farm simulators, but Harvestella has been one that I've actually been interested in, and I'm not really like into farm simulators. It's just the premise where they're like, you have like a number of seasons and then the season of death arrives and like you have to be ready to conquer this world-ending challenge. Like to me, I go, yo, I'll farm for that. Like I'll farm for that. Like that sounds cool, right? Especially if you can go like multiple different ways and like farm different things, right? They give you like difference in ways to play the game. To me, that sounds really awesome. Other farming simulators, what is it? IDAF or IDGAF? We'll say that. Pikmin coming back. That's pretty hype, right? I played Pikmin, the original Pikmin. I haven't played the other ones, but it was fun.
Is it Bobby though? Is Pikmin fun? Is Pikmin really fun, Bobby?
The original was fun. I mean, it was, it was like,
no,
it was kind of like
I could never get into Pikmin. It was wasn't for me, man.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right?
Yeah.
Like it's the same way I talk to people about like racing games. Like I can play like very few racing games. They are few and far between the ones that I can actually get into and enjoy. But people are like, oh man, GTA or not GTA, Gran Turismo 6, GT6, right? It's like that was incredible, blah blah blah. Or like Forza Motorsport, it's incredible. And I'm like, yeah, but it's a racing game. I don't care. Like I don't want to like tune up my like spark plugs and like tighten my suspension just for this one track. That is not entertaining to me, right? And I get that, like not every game is for everybody. That all being said, yeah, the Direct was I can totally see why Talon said, what would you say, like B-?
I give it about a B-, I'd say.
Yeah,
I personally give it a B-.
And I can get that, because if you're not into farming games, like half of the presentation wasn't for you. But when it comes to Zelda, all I have to say is, yeah! I'm just so hyped, right? So I wanted to project
You
that
hyped
out
about
this
Zelda?
way.
No way. I never would have thought of that. I never would have expected that.
Bobby, thoughts on that release date? Because that was a pretty big piece.
Of Zelda?
I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, after this podcast, I'm going into cryo sleep for 8 months.
May 12th, a new Switch.
The day after my birthday, by the way.
It could be. You better ask for a new Switch for your birthday, Talon.
May 12th.
If
new
they
Switch,
actually release
spring.
one.
It's spring, right? Yeah, springtime.
That's still technically
March.
spring, yeah. That's
So like March, new Switch. Switch 2.
I said this before.
Isn't
I
it when
said
the
this before to you guys.
Isn't it when the first Switch came out? Wasn't it spring, or am I going crazy?
It was with
spring.
Zelda,
Yeah.
March.
It was
yeah,
March
March
17th,
3rd.
if I remember correctly, is when it was
Alright,
Well,
released.
it was like, wasn't it 17th? Well, yeah, it was March 2017, right?
Yeah.
All right, so Switch 2. Okay, so
And
Switch 2,
I said this to you guys before. I said if they're gonna do a Switch 2, it's gonna be with the Breath of the Wild sequel. Like there was no doubt in my mind, because Breath of the Wild was the system seller. Like Mario Odyssey didn't even come out with the system.
Yep.
Right? And then they had Breath of the Wild, and they had 1-2 Switch. Which 1-2 Switch you can literally get in cartons of like 20 on eBay for $8. Like you go look that up on eBay, you'll find like people like, we have 6 crates of 1-2 Switch, $3 or best offer. Right? I don't know anybody who played 1-2 Switch. Every single person I know who got a Switch got it for Breath of the Wild. Every single person. And I know my brother bought Breath of the Wild before he got a Switch. He had it and he was like, I just gotta find a Switch, man. I just gotta find a Switch and then I'm good. And I was like, oh dude, power to you. Yeah, I had, like, I think I've told you guys before, like my whole journey on YouTube started from Breath of the Wild. Like I love Breath of the Wild. That is probably my favorite game that's ever been made, right? And I know me and Talon have put in thousands of hours into Destiny. And as much as I love Destiny, nothing compares to the first time I played Ocarina of Time as a kid. Except for God of War, I will say, 2018. That was like the
God
first
of War,
time.
that's a game.
Yeah, since the first time since I was a kid did I ever actually stop and go, holy shit. Like when something like came up from the world, because it made, it like, just like Ocarina of Time when I was like, what was I, like 11 when that came out? Like it was bigger than the world, right? Like the World Serpent when that came up and stuff like that. And then the same thing with Breath of the Wild though. Like I still remember the first time I came over a hill and just straight up saw a dragon, right? Because I did everything to not know what was going on about that game before it came out. I was like, I saw the trailer and I was like, other than that, I don't want to know anything. Like, I don't want leaks. I don't want rumors, any of this. So when I went in, it was all completely new, completely fresh. I didn't know how anything worked. And like coming over a hill after I just beat up some like bokoblins or whatever, the little gremlin guys, coming over a hill and just seeing like a dragon just kind of chilling, flying through the sky.
Casual
like,
dragon.
I just casual dragon observation. I just stopped and was like, whoa, like holy shit, like that's insane, right? And I was like, I need to fight it. Like, so I tried to figure out how to go fight it, and it couldn't. Right, you can't really fight them. You could shoot them, and that's how I figured you could like harvest their parts. Because I was like, I'm gonna shoot them with my bow, hit it, and something fell off. Right, that kind of stuff was just like so cool, and I'm really.
I remember
Nintendo
farming those scales. I do remember farming those scales in Breath of the Wild. Like you found that one dragon.
I wonder if you watched my video, if that was it.
I might have. I don't know. All I remember is it was one area because the dragon would always come up at the same spot and came up from the from over the cliff. Obviously, it would come up, and it was always during a lightning storm. And it would circle around a few times, and then it came back down. And you could always get a ton of the, I think they were gold scales were the most rare or something like that, or the second to most rare. It was basically a way for me to get more money, if I remember correctly. I don't remember, because I do remember not getting as much money when it came to
You may have watched my video.
I might have. I honestly might have. I'm not really sure.
I'm trying to see, because that video did really well for me. That like that video and the Lino video and the what is it, heart container video that has like 1 million views.
Damn,
those 3
nice.
videos literally paid for my computer in 2018.
Damn,
nice. Yeah, that video had like 100 some odd thousand views. Where I did a video on the like farming dragon horns from that one dragon that comes up. Yeah. That's like what started my YouTube career, right? Not that I'm like huge, right? On my channel after 5 years I have like 5,000 subs, right? But I love making content about Breath of the Wild. I did as much as I could, like, you know, to do shrines and stuff. And I'm looking forward to this one coming out because I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to do the same thing with Pokemon too. Like, if there's an open world Zelda game, especially, I'm going to be on that for months probably. Like, right. I think in the first month of Breath of the Wild, I put in like 210 hours or something.
Jeez.
I slept maybe 3 or 4 hours a night, and that was when I was engaged to a woman with children. So I was like taking them to school, and in between school, them going to school super early. It was
Bobby is just on story time right now, and I'm just living.
I'm sorry. Long story short,
I'm just living for it, man.
It was a whole thing of like I slept like 3 hours a night to play that game. So I'm hyped. Letha, what are you excited about? Tell us. Are you excited about Harvestella?
No. I'm sorry, give me a second. It's just I was following the story, Bobby, and then you went and told this whole thing. A woman that you were talking to that was engaged, and I was like, whoa, where did this?
Yeah, I was engaged in 2017.
It's story time, Lethal. It's story time.
There's so much there. No, okay, Bobby. Awesome. I'm gonna jump in. Okay. I did wanna say real quick, because we brought up God of War and we brought up we're obviously talking about Tears of the Kingdom, right? There's a big thing going on. Who has more views on YouTube? Are you guys ready for this? Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom newest trailer is currently at 4.2 million views. God of War Ragnarok, the new state of play story trailer, is currently at 4.7 million views.
Holy shit.
God of War is
just wanted to say God of War, baby.
God of War is
all right, we're not at the PlayStation yet, Lethal. Keep it held down. We're talking about Nintendo right here.
I just want to put that out there.
I will 100% say God of War's trailer is insane.
We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it.
We'll talk about that later. All right. Anyway, Nintendo, Lethal. What were you excited
Nintendo,
about?
sorry. I feel like we went on about Breath of the Wild sequel. I keep forgetting the damn name. What is it?
Tears of the Kingdom.
I'm so used to calling it Breath of the Wild sequel that it has to register that it's Tears of the Kingdom now. So I'm not gonna talk about that because everybody's talked enough about it. What I will talk about is Fire Emblem Engage. This game, I already said before we started, I was like, the protagonist, I'm not digging the red and blue hair thing. It's really just, it's disturbing to the eye for me. I'm sorry. I don't like it. But I do like everything else that I did see in that trailer when they showed it off. The game looks good. It looks better, in my opinion, than the last Fire Emblem, the Three Houses.
Oh, easily.
I'm actually really glad that they went away from the whole school system, like the dating sim thing. Thank God. Or I don't know if the dating sim part of it's gone, but the school part of it, like I'm done. I'm so done with games and you having to to go to class and shit like that. Like, I'm done with that shit. Let's move. We're 2022, 2023. Let's be done with all that, because I'm tired of going to school. No more. I graduated. We're done over here on this side. So I'm just glad to see that's not there. But the combat looks so freaking cool. They're doing some shit that reminds me of like Xenoblade Chronicles 3, where and also something that they've done, I think, in their mobile game, where they summon heroes of the past. So in the trailer, they showed Marth coming in and working with the protagonist, and it looks like they could do like moves together, and then they could do a fusion where they're like combined together. They have like a whole new sword and a whole new getup. I don't know what the hell that's about, but if I confuse with my guy Roy, my guy Crom, Lucina, if that's even possible, guy girl thing, I don't know if that's gonna work out, but if that's possible, like you give me Robin and all these characters that I care about from the past games, I can fuse with them and shit like that, dude. This game has potential to be like my favorite Fire Emblem game, if that's gonna be the case. So I'm extremely excited for that one. I just don't like the damn protagonists, the look of them. I hope you can customize them if that's possible. I don't think you can, but if you could, that would be a big thing for me. And the other part, go for it. Go ahead.
But tell us your thoughts about Pikmin.
No, I don't want to. That game looks terrible. And how about the fact that they really tried to push the Pikmin Go? Is that a thing? I think they tried to push.
It is. I actually saw some people playing it on the train here in Japan.
We're not playing that.
Yeah.
We're not playing that. No, that's. I'm not sure why they even bothered with that.
That's what mobile exists for.
No, we're not. I just can't, but it's just the fact that they even wasted resources on that, Bobby. The fact that they even wasted time on that game. That's what bothers me, Bobby. Are people going around wanting to pick up Pikmin? Is this a thing?
Lethal's just sitting here. He's like, why? You know what's going to happen? Lethal's just going to get shorter and shorter with every other game that isn't Ragnarok until November. And he's like, why are we wasting time?
There's games to talk about, but it's just that
on this when God of War is coming.
Like, some of the ones I'm just like, why? But I will say we got a new trailer for Bayonetta 3. I can't wait. But that's a game that like we've talked about. We know a lot about it. I think what I'm really excited about is because I still have, I think until next year. I think until like maybe March, I think it is. I still have my N64 Plus expansion pack subscription because I forgot I have it until then. I'm actually really excited for Mario parties. They're bringing in the Mario parties, and they're going to bring in the Pokemon Stadium games 1 and 2. Dog, that's big. Like, I know we talked about the GoldenEye one. That's obviously a pretty big one. I don't care, Town. As long as I can play Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, dude.
I know, but as long as the actual emulator works, I mean, we all remember when the Nintendo...
Oh, I'm sure. But
you know what? You say that, Talon, but they fixed it really quick. Like,
I mean, when it came to the N64 games, they've gone back and fixed a lot of the issues. I remember like Ocarina of Time had like the one level issue, and like they fixed it up pretty quick. I mean, I'm not sure about everything else, but it seems like they're on top of their shit when it comes to like the expansion pack stuff. So far so good. Now, what could have made this for me? I think I'm with you guys. I give it like a B. What could have made this an A? Game Boy Advance games. Dog, where are my Game Boy Advance games? That would have been, I think, the big push for me. That's what I would have loved to have seen.
I was waiting for Ragnarok port for Switch.
No, that's never happening. And I wouldn't even want that on Switch. I got a Steam Deck, dog. We don't even talk about that. But I will say there were cloud games for anybody who loves those cloud games on Nintendo Switch. Your Resident Evil 7, 8, Remake 2, Remake 3 are all available on your Switch via cloud. Because I feel like we have to mention the cloud games. At this point, it's a part of the directs. We have to talk about what games got cloud.
It's part of Nintendo now. Like Nintendo is Nintendo. Into cloud gaming.
Clown's accurate.
Than anybody
say that.
Right?
That's pretty
accurate. I mean, the ports have not been too hot. So. What about you, Talon? What was your biggest thing from this direct?
I know I'm probably looking like the old boomer who just complains about everything. Okay, so. I enjoyed the direct. I did. It was nowhere bad, right? It was. I wasn't going online being like, all right, F-, terrible direct or anything like that. I simply give it a B-, and again, maybe this is more due to my taste and everything, but I wanted a little bit more from the first party. And I know Nintendo has a habit of mostly doing third-party style stuff, and I know I'm calling like Fire Emblem third party when I know technically it's not because it's only going to be on the Switch. But when I think first party Nintendo games, I think Donkey Kong, I think Metroid, I think Mario, right?
We didn't talk about that one.
Right? And yeah, so I have the entire list. I typed this up in Gilded when we were watching it live. So we obviously have things from Fire Emblem Engage, which is awesome. Looks like a fun game. I will agree though, the multicolored hair, I'm not really digging it, just like you, Lethal. Xenoblade's getting an expansion, which is awesome. Tunic is coming in November. That looks really fun, obviously.
Oh yeah, Tunic is rad.
Great game, by the way.
Octopath Traveler 2. I know a lot of people who love those JRPGs and everything like that. Like, that's really cool. And then obviously you have all of the N64 emulator games, so all the Mario Party games. You have Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2. You even have that snowboarding and Excite Bike game and everything like that. So that's really cool. Hopefully they spread it out, but they don't spread it out too much in terms of the releases when they come. You know, let's hope like we don't see all these, like half of them will release in December and then the next half release in like May or something like that. Like have one per month, right? Like have one per month to release or something like that, I think would be best. And obviously you have the things like GoldenEye and everything like that. We saw a brief glimpse of the Mario Kart 8 DLC. We saw Switch Sports getting golf finally. Pikmin was there, Just Dance and all that stuff. Bayonetta, I'm sorry, that's gonna kill like half the Switches out there. I don't care what anyone says. That thing's running at like 15 frames a second. I'm calling it right now. I'm calling it right now.
I can't wait to play that, man.
It is. No, Bayonetta looks really fun, but man, I fear, at least for my OG 2017 Switch little guy that's sitting here, that thing is gonna chug probably. I just get the feeling it's gonna chug.
I have a 2021 OLED Switch, and that thing's probably gonna chug. I mean,
there's
it's the
no
same
difference between the two.
Yeah, like, although I will say now, anytime I make any video on Switch stuff, absolutely gonna be talking about Talon's 15 frames.
Exactly. Did you have to? That is my quote. That is my quote. You have to quote me every single time.
That is going in the tags, Talon.
Yeah.
Of the videos.
So and then the fact that we got Shifu, we got Crisis Core, which is confirmed not to be Cloud, which I obviously think is really cool. And then Tales of Symphonia is getting a remaster. That's pretty cool. I definitely think that's really
yeah,
this
that's a big
thing.
one.
Is that like Talon? You're like, oh, I gave this a B-. The only reason anyone is saying it was a bad direct is because there was a lot of farming games. And look, I get it. There was an overabundance of farming games. But if you look at everything else that wasn't the farming games, everybody would be like, this is one of the best Nintendo Directs ever. Octopath Traveler 2, Tunic, Sifu, like Tales of Symphonia remake. Everyone would just be like, it's the best thing ever.
Right. And then we get into the Zelda. Yeah.
And then Zelda.
Right. And then we get the Zelda title, which is great. But where's Metroid? Right, I know we just got
made a Metroid.
Dread. I know we just got Dread over a year ago. I get that, but with all the rumors and everything with the Prime trilogy, even if it's just simply Prime 1 HD, where is it? Where are the other Zelda, HD masters for the Switch? Right? Where's a new Donkey Kong game? Where is a new Mario game? When was the last time we had an actual Mario game? Was it Odyssey? Odyssey was the last one.
Yeah.
What's the Mario team? You cannot tell me the movie is taking up all this time. And again, I might sound like some crazy boomer that's just complaining about everything, but I've come to the point now when it comes to the Nintendo Directs where I like the announcements, but I am sick and tired of that same voice. No offense to the person who does the voices, but just having the voiceovers on all the trailers. I want to hear the gameplay trailers. I want to hear what the trailers look like and everything. I want to see these announcements. And yet they only left it for Zelda. Was there?
Brian says Bayonetta doesn't deserve to be played frame by frame. I agree. I agree.
I have to play Bayonetta 2, to be fair. So I have to judge it off of that one, see how that one played.
And with this talent, I totally get your point, but you have to understand that Nintendo, like, I really wanted them to go like, hey, we're gonna have Wind Waker Twilight Princess out, and by the way, here's the title and the release date for the next Zelda 2. Seriously? Like, I would have loved that.
Awesome.
I would have loved that. But you have to understand that Nintendo is very, and you know this, Mr. Lives in Tokyo. I know. Nintendo is very old school.
You have no idea how old school they are. Holy crap.
Very strategic with what they do, right? The only reason because like we basically know at this point that Wind Waker and Twilight Princess are in the 2, right? They're just ready.
Better be.
They're ready to put those games out, right?
And announce them.
So why? Because if like something else has to be delayed, they can go, oh, you know what? We got to delay the next Mario game by 6 months, but we have these 2 Zeldas coming out. Sorry about that, right? They do that. Nintendo does that because they know they have those classic games that people want to come, and if they can't deliver something like Mario Odyssey 2, whatever we want to call that, right? They're going to just put out something that they have in the can already, because that's how they roll. I mean, that's how they have rolled for years now.
And we get those
Right?
stupid
Or
grandparents that still run Nintendo and Sony and all of them. Can we just get them out already?
Or when they announce Switch 2, they're just gonna have a banger lineup. I'm talking, yo, we're gonna get the next Mario game. Zelda will be going on that puppy. You're gonna get the freaking Metroid Prime trilogy on there. Oh man, could you imagine if that's what it is though? Too? What are the like Switch 2 big trailer and it's just all these games with GameCube? You're like, oh my god, they're gonna add the GameCube for like
Lethal right now, mentally right now. I am sending you the meme of don't give me hope. Don't do it. Don't do it.
That's what I have to think. I mean, at this point, I feel like Nintendo's like, we have the rest of our year lineup done. Pokemon, you know, we have I always forget about the Mario Rabbids game. I think that's a pretty big game. I only play those like a year after they release. I don't know if I'll pick up this new one.
Well, yeah, after a year after release, it costs like $12.
Bayonetta. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, I don't know. I maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
Yeah. And again, I know probably in the video I probably come off again as some angry gamer, you know, entitled and all. No, I'm not saying that the Direct was terrible. And I'm hopefully people are hearing that. It's just that I think I'm at the point now where one announcement from the big titles of Nintendo just doesn't do it for me anymore. Right? Like, I don't care. Again, memes aside for the farming simulators, I don't care about Switch Sports finally getting golf, even though it was on the Wii version originally, right? I don't care about, you know, half of these games that like have already been on previous systems beforehand, right? The N64 emulator ones are great. I don't personally have the expansion with the Nintendo stuff because it's just like, until you guys start showing me more than just N64 games, like where's my GameCube games, where's Game Boy games, things like that, right? Like I personally just don't care. So if that stuff isn't, you know, again, and I know I'm probably in the minority here, or maybe I'm in the majority, I'm not really sure, but without all that stuff, it's just like, come on, show me a new Donkey Kong game, or show me again a new Mario game or something like that. The fact that Odyssey was the last Mario game we got, kind of telling, considering if I remember correctly with the Wii and the Wii U, didn't we get like Mario games every other year or something like that?
Well, I mean, half of them were 2D, right?
Right. And I got no problem with a new 2D Mario game. I mean, that's classic 2D Mario game, but like,
but then the other half is like, there was a couple new ones, but right, they would put out collections. They would put out like the 2D ones that were kind of the throwbacks to old games, right? Which I'd be cool. You know what I would love Nintendo to make as a 2D, like in their new 2D style, like it makes Super Mario World 2 like that. Like, where's that game?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. So again, just where are these other, you know, known titles / characters series that
I mean, like
Nintendo's known
Donkey
for?
Kong has like been not super well received. I mean,
it's funny.
Right?
Retro made Donkey Kong Country Returns and Tropical Freeze, if I remember correctly, like that, right? And I know they're now giving the reins for Metroid Prime 4, whenever that one eventually comes out. I'm still saying 2027, hopefully, is what I'm hoping, because they
said 2 years ago that they were restarting it, right?
Yeah,
so
2 years ago they basically scrapped it. So
that's gonna be a Switch 2 game. Like that's
just
like I get into there like scrap it. Don't even try making it come out anymore for this Switch. Just put it for Switch 2.
Put it for Switch 2. Please do not be limited by the Switch hardware.
I mean, also just to toss in there, like I saw games like Seafood that they showed there, which I was shocked to see. Like it was pretty cool. Seafood was there, and It Takes Two. But oh my god, dog, those frames! Oh my god, those textures, those visuals, that everything about that was killing me when I saw that. Yep. Reminder for some of these games, you don't have to play on your Nintendo Switch, please. I swear to God, if you have a PlayStation 4.
And here's the thing as well, right? Dog. Especially for something like Seafood or Take Two or anything like that, whether you have it on Game Pass or you get it on PlayStation. Yeah. You can probably find those games for like $10.
Yeah.
Right? You can. And Nintendo's probably going to try and charge it for like $30 or something like that.
Rough, man.
It's going to be rough.
It Takes Two for $15 last Christmas.
Right, exactly. And if Nintendo even thinks about charging more than I'd say 20, if they try to charge 30 or $40 for it, who's going to buy that? Nobody.
Well, you got to think, they can slap a sticker on that says Game of the Year. It looks like a cute little kids game, right? Even though it's kind of like advanced to work with 2 people and stuff.
Right.
You're gonna get the Link outfit. Come on, you want that? That's what they do, though. You're gonna get the Link outfit. Yeah.
The other thing is, like, you got to consider, like, okay, kids are gonna see, oh, this is Game of the Year. I never got to play this. You ask your parents, hey, can I get this game with these cute little doll characters flying around on flowers? Like, they'll be like, okay, doesn't matter. Right? That's how Nintendo works, man. Nintendo is like the masters of capitalizing on the fact that most of their fan base are children.
Yeah.
And that their parents are going to be the ones buying the games for them. That's why the games don't go down in price. Because, you know, like, we don't have kids, right? But, like, if you got kids, you're like in your mid 40s, your kids are like in their teens, and they're like, hey, mom, dad, can I get this game? Yo, sure. Like, spend $60, doesn't matter, whatever. Just buy the game, right? And that's what's going to happen. That's how it works. I mean, I teach kids all the time who talk to me about video games because they see my background, or back when I was in person, like my badge had like Mario Mushroom and Zelda Triforce on it and stuff. They'd be like, you like video games? Cool. Like, and they would ask me, and all of them had a Switch, all of them. And all of them would talk to me about that game.
Every single one of my students who plays games too, they all have Switches. Yeah.
Well, you're in Japan, Talon.
I know, right?
That's not even fair. Like,
unfair comparison, I know, but
that's like, Brian brings up, when did Mario Maker 2 come out? Was it before Odyssey? That's a great point, because that's one thing I don't think you're considering, Talon. Mario Makers have come out. I think both of them came out on Switch, right?
Or
was the first one on Wii?
I think the first one I know was on Wii U. I know the first one was on Wii U.
Yeah. I don't think they brought that. Although they might have brought it over to Switch, and then they did the new one, right?
So Mario Maker 2 came out June 28th, 2019.
Yeah, it came out before 2020, all that.
Mario Maker 1 came out in 2015. Yeah, that was a Wii U game.
Yeah,
and a 3DS game.
But that's a good point. Like, you got to understand, basically Mario Maker 2 is like the equivalent of like a Mario live service, right? It's built a community that makes like Mario levels, and you can run basically an infinite amount of Mario levels forever on that game, because there's always going to be people creating and putting out new stuff.
That's true.
You know? Now, does that excuse not having an Odyssey for like 4.5, 5 years now? Maybe not, but you still got Mario to play if you get Mario Maker 2, which I gotta get that game because Mario Maker is awesome, and I don't have Mario Maker 2. Sadness.
I saw it for $40 on Amazon, I think, in the US. So the rare price drop from Nintendo.
I just spent $300 on God of War and Destiny collector's editions. So until Pokemon comes out, I gotta chill a little bit.
Talon. Speaking of God of War, you gotta take a
second. You want to move over? All right.
I'm tired.
Bobby,
I'm
but
tired
hang
of
on,
Nintendo.
Bobby. Any final words for Zelda?
Any
Any final words from Zelda before I switch the photos?
Tears of Kingdom's gonna be rad.
All right.
That's it.
All right, let's go on to the next stuff. We talked about a bunch about the Nintendo Direct and everything. Then we had the Sony State of Play, right? Now, which wasn't as long. It was only about 20 minutes, and it was kind of a combo of Japanese titles and also some Western titles as well, aside from God of War, if I remember correctly. So we had things like Tekken 8. We obviously had God of War. We had a brand new game that was shown off by a new developer from the looks of it. It was the car just driving around, essentially, if I saw it.
Pacific Drift.
Yeah, Pacific Drift. We saw some VR stuff. And I'm trying to think of any other big announcements that we saw from that.
There was the Yakuza game, Like a Dragon.
Like a Dragon, which is the official title, which we'll have a full video out that I've made because I got to try it out on TGS floor and everything like that. So that was obviously shown off and everything like that. And Ronin, was it, from Team Ninja?
Yes, Team Ninja and Koei Tecmo, Rise of Ronin. Me and Chin were going off about that game. Looks so good.
Yeah. So,
and then the other Lethal. Dude, you better mention Stellar Blade. Am I gonna mention it? Am I going?
Yeah, Bobby did Nintendo. Bobby did Nintendo. You're doing Sony. Release the dog. Go.
All right. I'll save. I know how much Bobby loves God of War, and I love God of War, so we can tackle that one together. So that'll be last. So I want to talk about Tekken 8 because one of my first fighting games I've ever played was Tekken back in the day of like PlayStation 1, the good old days, right? PlayStation 1, awesome.
And you're making me feel old.
Hey, I was like a kid. It was a good time though. But Tekken.
Remember when Street Fighter 2 was in arcades?
Tekken.
Oh God.
Let's talk
Showing your age there, Bobby.
Talk about Tekken, dog. Tekken 8 looks freaking fantastic, dog. I was afraid once I saw Street Fighter 6. In my mind, I kept thinking, damn, I put them in my mind as like classic fighters, like, you know, the old school fighting games of like Tekken, Soul Calibur, Street Fighter, and stuff like that. So I kept thinking, man, I don't know how like Tekken, if we ever get a new one, like, or Soul Calibur, if we get a new one, like how will those compete with Street Fighter 6? Because Street Fighter 6 to me looks incredible. Like that looks like that's gonna be a good ass time. But Tekken 8, dog, Jin looks incredible. Kazuya looks really good. Just like the amount of detail. And I personally thought that what we saw was just kind of like cinematic kind of footage that they just kind of put together, because I was like, yo, that looks way too good to be like in-game footage. But I'm dumb. Apparently that was like rendered in-game footage. And according to the PlayStation blog, that was even like a piece of it that was cut from the story mode that they're going to be implementing into the game. And dude, if it looks that good, if it's going to look that good, oh my God, dude. Street Fighter 6 and Tekken are going to be like going head to head. If this is even coming out next year, which I don't think it actually is.
Probably not.
It looks like it might be like a 2024 game.
Probably.
But if it is, that is wild. But either way, it looks so good. Just the character models, like the backgrounds, and just everything about it. Like I hope I like to see them take like, you know, the typical like the fighting and do some cool new things with it. Like I saw Street Fighter was doing a lot of cool stuff with like the neon colors and stuff like that. Like it was a very vibrant looking game, and I'm kind of curious like what will Tekken do to kind of make it stand out a little bit. But some of the slow-mo stuff that it was doing I thought was really cool, and I'm sure they're gonna do way more things with it. But that was definitely one where I was taken by surprise. I did not expect to see a Tekken 8, and so like for them to start off the showcase with that, I remember tweeting and I was like, yo, they just started with Tekken 8. Like that's pretty nuts for a state of play, because all of us thought this was going to be a showcase. Like this was supposed to be PlayStation's showcase event. We were supposed to be getting Spider-Man, right? Wolverine. Like we were ready for the big guns to come out. So like I think even myself, when I saw State of Play, I was like, this is going to be crap. This is just going to be something stupid. We're going to get whatever we need to see. It's not even going to be God of War, because they promised like Japanese, mostly Japanese. And so I was like, I don't even know what we're going to exactly get from this. So it is what it is. But man, Tekken 8, that's how you start off a damn showcase. I'm going to fast forward. They went to a game that I had in my notes is a game that I want to make sure they come back to at some point, because it looked so freaking good. And it was known at the time as Project Eve. And I was like, yo, this game looks ridiculous. Like this is the definition of what I expect a next gen game to look like.
Yeah.
It's just everything. Like it's the combat, the flashiness of the moves, like the visuals. It is a beautiful ass game if you ask me. Like it looks incredible. Even the monsters, they look like hybrids of like some type of Metal Gear shit with like, I don't know, kaiju things. Like they look really cool looking. So the fact that they came back to this game, we got to see another trailer for it, and now we know it's coming out in 2023. And with an official name now, it is no longer Project Eve, but Stellar Blade, which I think is a dope ass name.
That's cool name.
But yeah, so good. I can't wait to play it. That's another game that's just on my list of like, yo, I definitely gotta come back to this game.
I bet it will be at Tokyo Game Show next year.
Oh, and I'm playing it day one, dog. I mean, if it comes up beforehand, still playing it. But I can't wait. That game looks really good. I'm trying to think, what was the other ones that they announced? Rise of the Ronin, we talked about them just a little bit. That one looked really good as well. There's that one, and I kind of confused it a little bit with the I think it was the Like a Dragon. Ishin. Yeah, those two I feel like I'm confusing them a little bit, because they were a little bit similar, just a little bit.
So
but obviously Rise of the Ronin was more like Ghost of Tsushima, if I'm not mistaken. That was the one with the guy who, you know, he had like the sword combos and stuff like that. Again, very similar to Ghost of Tsushima.
Right, Like
but
a
then he
Dragon.
had like the gun.
Yeah. Like a Dragon. So that was a sword and the gun combo stuff that you saw. They did crazy over the top combat. So for everyone who doesn't know, we have a video coming out on it tomorrow morning, which you'll see, because I made that along with the Sonic and all the other TGS videos. But Like a Dragon is the official translation of the Yakuza games, the old Yakuza games that we've been playing for a long time, all the way up until now. Yakuza was more of a Western translation, like, you know, back in the days where they kind of just roughly translated it to something that would sound cool and market well to a Western audience and everything. Now they're going back and doing the official translation. It's always been known as Like a Dragon when you officially translate it from Japanese to English. So it's still the same series. They'll have their spin-off games, they'll have their numbered games and everything like that. Ishin is clearly a spin-off, and it actually came back out in 2014 on PS3 and PS4 for Japan only though. And due to the success that Ghost of Tsushima had, basically allowed the Sega people to be like, look, this released and did really well in the West, let's release this as well. And that's what they're doing now.
Yeah.
So
PlayStation console exclusives, right? For that one or no?
no, it's for everything except for the Switch.
Okay.
So it's on Xbox One, it's on PS4, it's on PS5, it's on Xbox Series X and X, and it's on the PC, Steam, and the Microsoft Windows Store or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's
Rise
on
of Ronin
pretty
was
much
the
everything.
exclusive one.
Maybe it'll become Switch Cloud. Who knows? But I ain't touching
No,
cloud
don't
with a
say that.
10-foot
Stop
sword. So, you know, whatever. It is what it is. So anyway, sorry. So I
No,
interrupted you,
but-
Lethal. Keep going.
But those were the other two big ones I think that I was really excited for.
The Ronin game
Because
was
obviously
really
the big one that we have to talk about.
Yeah.
I mean that one. It was funny because they both had like the sword and gun combo thing. So like I think a lot of people, myself, got was like mixed up. But one was like doing one thing completely different. The other one was something else.
Like a
too.
Dragon is definitely more over the top and everything. And again, you'll see this in the video that we post tomorrow morning. But with the whole sword and gun combo thing and everything like that, like you're just spinning around, doing crazy moves, and the next thing you know, you're
dude.
throwing out like a warp ball essentially in Like a Dragon, where it just sucks all your opponents in, and you can keep slicing them up and everything like that. So
Dude, I
that
can't
one's gonna be
wait.
more over the top, what you'd expect from those games and everything like that. Like a Ronin is gonna be more along the lines of what we'd expect from a Team Ninja game. A little bit more, definitely harder, I would say. Probably
It's gonna be harder.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna get your butt kicked if you think
more
you're gonna
more
have fun.
grounded
You have fun with
essentially.
combos.
Yeah, more grounded, I would say, essentially. But regardless, both of them would still look fun. I'm definitely excited to try them out. So
And then just the last thing, the God of War Ragnarok, not the trailer just yet, but the controller, dog. How about that controller? That would.
I don't care.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Peripherals don't do it for me. I'm sorry. They don't. They just don't. I'm sorry.
purples, they're blue.
I said
blue and white's beautiful.
peripherals. Like
Oh, I said purple. I was like, wait, purple.
Yeah, purple. Yeah.
There's no purple
Dude,
on it.
I
If it
know
was-
I'm part
if it was
colorblind, but
purple-
I'm not that part colorblind. Damn. Come on.
Oh man,
If
but
it was
no,
purple,
dude,
I'd be more
controller.
inclined. That's
I just thought it looked good. I've been dying for a blue DualSense controller, and that might be the closest I get to one because you did
They
just
have
release
one.
a camo.
Well, they have the light blue.
No, yeah, I meant like a dark blue, like that blue that's on the God of War controller. That's my blue, like that dark blue, whatever it is, royal blue, whatever. That's my blue.
That
So I'm excited for the
PlayStation blue.
controller. Bobby,
That-
go ahead,
was
take
get-
it away, big dog.
No,
Take it
I
away.
was gonna say I talked to Chin about that controller because I was like, man, that controller looks rad. I kind of want to order one. He was like,
dude.
he
The
was like-
father and son, the wolves.
he was like, you know, I wanted to too, and then I remembered the Pro controllers coming, and I was
Yeah,
like,
we don't know when though, right?
you know what? Yeah, but I'm not gonna buy that controller and then buy a Pro controller too,
fair,
personally,
yeah.
right? And I really want a Pro controller because like I've started playing FPS games, even though I'm bad at them, right? And the Pro controllers are fantastic for FPS games. And when I play Fortnite, same thing. Having those extra paddles, like and those extra buttons on there, is just super clutch, right? And as much as I love that control, like I think that controller is one of the most gorgeous controllers I've ever seen, right? I'm like, but I can't justify buying that and then buying a Pro, like, and I really want a Pro, right? But if you want it, dude, I totally get that. Like, I totally understand, and I'm on board. Like, I'm rooting for you, and I want pictures, Lethal.
I'll be up.
Like, just like
8
close
o'clock
up.
in the morning, 7 a.m.,
No.
6
He
a.m., I'll
needs
be
to do an unboxing video. He has to do an unboxing video.
There you go.
Oh, we
You'll see it
will.
here
They'll be
first on
both.
5-9 Directs. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So
There you go.
There you go.
Just it.
Exactly.
Bobby, talk to us about the game, because
Oh,
there's
dude.
so much.
That
There's so much.
freaking trailer,
so much
I was
to talk
hyped.
First of all,
we might be here for an hour, so it's
we
okay.
could be here for an
It's
hour
okay.
talking about that trailer.
First of all, with the image that we have below Talon, I want to thank you because Thor right there is my spirit animal. Just,
Oh my
just-
god.
just
look at
skirting
him.
out.
Just look at him, man.
Just
Dude,
taking the glory.
the fact they ended the trailer. I know we're going to the end of the trailer. We got all this other stuff to talk about. The fact that they ended the trailer with you calling your axe and you throwing it. You're like, okay, what's he throwing at some enemy or little mini boss? Or something? No, throwing it at freaking Thor. And then it goes to the title, and then they both catch it. They snap it back to their fingers. They both catch it, and then ping, and then boom. That's it. I was like,
that clash,
dude.
that initial clash was
yes,
just.
that initial clash was. Oh God.
I am super stoked. The first God of War is like a technical marvel.
Yeah.
I still say that, like, I don't understand that 4 years later how they got that game to not have
Dude,
cuts at all.
wizardry. That's all I can think of. The wizards are at work with that. Like, so there are games that come out every now and then. Whether it's God of War, whether it's some, the way, even if the game itself is just kind of, it's normal, but like maybe the art is fantastic or something like that,
Yeah.
or how they make something run on a system that is, weak. Switch. you know, then when we see those games though, we're just like, how did you pull this off? Like, here are 20 games that don't even look close to that, and yet here you are doing this. Like what the heck?
But I mean, there's so much in that trailer that's just really cool. Like Atreus like shooting down the moon, right? That's the whole.
Yeah, he shoots the arrow for the moon to go down, and then the second wolf there like goes and then makes a day. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I would say he's with the two wolves, one of which is supposed to be, I think, Fenrir.
I believe so. Yeah, Fenrir.
Yeah, a character that I don't know about, but everybody was like, "That's Fenrir," and I'm like, "Oh my god, that must be something important."
I remember Fenrir is Hulk throwing him off the cliff in the Ragnarok. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say I refuse to look into too much like mythology stuff because I don't want to ruin it. I just want to be surprised when they do their adaptation of it or whatever the case may be. But yeah, that's
actually knowing about this stuff like is what made me so interested in that trailer. Made me go like, I know how this Norse mythology goes, or a lot of it, not all of it, but a lot of it. And the more and like the deeper into that trailer I was just like, oh shit. Like just like knowing the mythology and seeing how it's kind of like Lila said, how they're interpreting it makes me go like, oh, how are they gonna play with that? Right. Because I know how the story goes. And I mean, even if you played through the first game and you sat and listened to Mimir, like you learned half of Norse mythology there, right?
Right.
But yeah, like some of the other stuff, especially the stuff around Loki and Loki's children, right? Real big stuff in that trailer that if you know it, you probably leaving you just like me wondering like, how's that going to tie into what's happening?
One thing I absolutely loved from the trailer that we got to see more of, and we've been seeing this throughout some other gameplay trailers and everything like that, is some of the creature designs, whether they're enemies or just people that are just creatures that are around and everything. It's like we already know it looked really good in 2018. They've taken that to the next level now. And some of the creatures, I was like, from the size to the way they look, just the detail on them,
the animations,
like, oh my gosh.
I think that was one of the biggest scares for a lot of people because let's be real, this game is, I think it's gonna look really good, but it's gonna be like just a step above the last game. Like I don't think a lot of us are expecting this to be like something absolutely insane crazy. So I think a lot of people, including myself, wonder how do you match 2018 God of War? Like what are you gonna do to make us think like, yo, holy shit, like this is really gonna be like God of War, or the sequel, right? God of War Ragnarok. Like what can you do? And I think, Tom, like you hit a point for me where I was like, you have to show me like some cool designs. Like you gotta give me something. Like, and I think they killed it when they showed a lot of some of the newer enemies or just some of the newer characters. Like there's like that mermaid scene where like what's it called? Kratos is looking out and it's like this majestic looking mermaid thing. And I'm like, that looks so damn cool. Same thing with the giant ass squid. I don't know what the hell you are, but
squid thing or whatever.
The giant jellyfish squid thing. I was like, yo, that looks incredible. Like even the environments, I got scared because we know we're going to be traveling back to some of the same realms from the first game, right? From 2018 God of War. So I'm like, ooh, like, are we going to be seeing just the same things? But no, they were sure to give us a lot of looks at some really brand new, like some new, I don't know if it's new realms or just maybe new locations within certain realms where you're like, whoa, this is beautiful looking. There's a lot of cool looking landscapes, a lot of cool looking designs for a lot of the environments. But there's even, I think there was Valkyries. I think Valkyries are coming back. I think they're
Valkyries. They said death to you essentially, and that's when he made that iconic line. Death can have me when it earns me.
Yes,
that's a title of a thumb. Sometime I don't care what anyone says. That's a title.
That's the best line I've ever heard.
Yeah. That is an amazing line.
That is just like okay, this man is a badass, and I'm not fucking with him. Like I'm not. Like you say that to me.
Let's all be real.
If we met, and I'm like, you know what?
Met Kratos in real life, we met the Kratos. Like we traveled into dimensions or whatever, and we met Kratos. All three of us, we sit there going, like we'd be speechless. Like we wouldn't be able to do anything.
Whatever. I just
see talents like this. Talent
take me in, train me
eye to eye. Like Talon's already like 6'8".
Another thing since we're talking about like characters and creatures and everything, I mean everything from like the giant alligator we've seen since the beginning of the very first trailer and everything to that, like what was it? It was in this story trailer where like he takes his shield and just bashes away this giant.
They
I don't even
showed
know
off
what it
weapons,
is.
new weapons too. Which
Yeah,
is
new
pretty
weapons.
Cool.
I don't even
There's
know
a new
what-
shield. There's
Yeah,
a
new shield.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we have the chaos blades and everything like that. We've got the axe back and everything. I mean,
So, like new gameplay stuff, like him throwing his chaos blade to like get to the other side of like a platform.
yeah.
Like they're
and
just
then
introducing some
slamming
new
it.
stuff.
The motion between switching between weapons, it seems to be a lot faster, and it really allows you to combo into both of them, like going between the axe to the chaos blades and back and forth and everything. Like that looks really cool, which I believe they talked about a little bit, and you covered in your gameplay analysis trailer, Lethal, where they talked about how do we make this better. Well, we got to look at what was good and we got to improve upon that if we can.
Yep.
So but yeah, it's just that is a
And
day
the
one.
trailer-
I am streaming that the moment, because the moment it comes out here in Japan, it'll be when everyone's waking up in the West. It'll be around 1 a.m., 2 a.m. or so. So maybe not, but everyone will be doing the midnight release. I am streaming that on 5/9. I don't care how many people show up. I'm streaming that, and it's probably going to go for like 5 to 7 hours. I'm just going to be streaming that the entire time.
Tell him like 4 days later, he's just like,
No, this stream just doesn't go. Like this stream is going like 24 hours. So like, you tell him you're still playing. He's like, yeah, and I'm like, oh shit. No, he's just gonna pull a whole weekend, like a whole weekend stream of just playing God of War Ragnarok.
Pretty
yeah,
much,
whole playthrough, just like the game, no cuts.
No cuts.
No cuts.
Yeah, no cuts. Just
Gonna
like
happen.
like 27 hours of God of War real quick.
Yep. So, and hey,
That's
you know what? If
really
it
nice.
gets 1 million views or something like that, then
Yeah,
it's
but
happening.
I just want to say that trailer was just also just beautifully made.
It was.
Like you couldn't have asked for a better trailer like that. That is like, in my opinion, like when you think of like just top tier trailers, like that is how you do a fucking trailer, where you just, by the end of that, I couldn't like I was going nuts by the end of that trailer. Like I remember losing my mind, and I was like by myself because I was like right after work, and I was like I had to talk to somebody. So I just went on like a Twitter rant, Twitter spree. I even recorded my reaction because I was just going crazy for it. But that was just one of those trailers where I was like, yo, like this is a video game trailer. Like this is how you do it. Like from beginning to end, there wasn't a single moment where I wanted to pick up my phone and be like, okay, what's going on? Like I was so just immersed into that trailer. There were so many. Yeah, there was so much happening that by the end I had to like try to remember like what happened, because I just remember being so sucked in, and I was just like, dude, the music, just the shots that they use. Kratos is like running and holding somebody. He's like fist, or not fist pounding, but he's like dabbing up like Tyr. You know, they're fighting the Valkyries. They're having those memorable quotes. Again, like back to the music. Like there's just, and then there's just the epic finale with him versus with Thor, and you're just like, what is like? At that moment, I was just like, what the hell did I just watch? Because there was so much just popping off at you in different moments. It was so good.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with that. I mean, first off, your thumb says it all. I mean, that's an awesome thumb, by the way. I'm just looking at that right now.
Love that
One thing I came away after seeing that trailer was I didn't feel, you know, I'm not one who really particularly cares about spoilers, but I don't think anyone really came away saying like, oh my gosh, I feel so spoiled now. It's like, do you?
It's perfect.
Really? Like, yeah, they showed us a shit ton of stuff, but we've known about Thor since 2018. We knew Thor was going to show up. Like, he was in, you know, again, very briefly, but we knew he was going to show up and everything. So what are you spoiled on? The fact that we're going to the 9 realms? Oh my gosh, we already knew we were going to the other realms.
What's really funny, I was going to say, what's really funny is I think that the real spoiler would be like if they showed Odin. Because I feel like we have to kill Odin.
Yeah,
as,
but they didn't show him. They said his name, but okay.
Yeah.
But we've known Odin is connected to anyone who know. I mean, this is, I guess, the upside to the MCU being so popular, right? Everyone knows who Odin is, right? If you know who Thor is, you know his dad. So I mean, they only say, because it's the Valkyries, I believe, or said they said, you know, for Odin or something like that, or you know, like how dare you question Odin or something like that. So okay, they said his name. We have no idea what he looks like. We haven't seen him or anything. So, yeah. So yeah.
That's again. That's just how you do a trailer.
That's how you do a trailer. You get us hyped.
That is peak trailer right there.
That is peak trailer. You show off so much, yet you're not spoiling anything. Because I guarantee you, they've also probably left off. You know, maybe there's probably a new item we're getting. So I'm guaranteed, because you know they always show, you can always tell what items he has attached on his back and everything. I guarantee you there's gonna be some new item or something like that, but they're just clearly not gonna show that because that's a spoiler, right? But the fact that they showed off as much as they did, including the Thor clash at the end, and I still don't know anything about this game for the most part, aside from, okay, yeah, it's definitely gonna be within the 9 realms.
Yeah.
That says something right there. That really does.
Oh yeah, you're right, Brian. Talon confirmed here. 24-hour God of War stream, week of release. He's gonna platinum it. 100%.
I will try my best. The only problem is it comes out on a Tuesday, and I do have work the next day. So.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. You're fine.
You're fine. I'm fine. You call up my principal and you tell him, hey, Talon here is doing a 24-hour stream.
Just make it a special class. The class assignment is about video game development. Talk to them about like what we're learning in this here. You know, you can make it educational.
I mean, I had to invite the entire class over to my apartment.
Take it to school.
Are you kidding me? Trying to take my entire workstation over to work? That'd be a hassle and a half.
There's just Talon like sitting in his studio room there with just like a bunch of Japanese school children like surrounding him while he's playing God of War. He's just feeding them Mountain Dew and like marshmallows. You know, it's like you guys gotta.
I'm sure the parents would love that.
Yeah, you guys got to keep me up, okay? That's how this works.
So grade, state of play, A. I'm sorry.
I give it okay. So God of War alone, A plus. Total, I would say B plus, A minus range, because luckily they did say that it was mostly going to be Japanese, games or games from Japan. So I didn't go in expecting too much to see from Spider-Man 2 or Wolverine. Because again, take your effing time on those games. I don't care how long you take with those games. Take your time with them. I don't care.
Okay, but I do want to say before we get accused of biases, Xbox did have a thing, and they didn't have any. Yeah, they had a presentation at Tokyo Game Show.
No,
you were there.
Okay, well, hang on. We're about to get into Tokyo Game Show, so I'll cover that in a second. I'll cover that in a second. So, Bobby, what would you rate the state of play, though? What would you rate?
State of play, I would say an A. I really felt like it was good. I mean, to me personally, like I would say that the Nintendo was higher grade than you, maybe like an A minus, right? Too. But this is definitely a flat out A. One thing I really love, Sony's getting back into really like pushing for the Japanese market, which they've kind of been neglecting for the last few years. Sony, don't forget where you came from. You know what I mean? Like, it's like Nintendo always tries to have strong showings in the Japanese markets because they know that that's where they came from, and they know that that's who they need to have on their side before anybody else, right?
Yep.
And I think Sony starting to push back into that is a good thing for them. To kind of go, hey, we haven't forgotten the world outside of North America. You know what I mean? Like, we want our games to be played by everybody. I think that's a good push. And then of course, like God of War, that trailer was ridiculous. Lethal's still just watching it. He's watching it right now.
If I'm watching it right now, he is.
I actually am. I'm looking at screenshots. Sorry.
He's like, I'm in it, man.
All right, let's get on to the last thing that we're going to talk about today, which is the Tokyo Game Show. So I've said this once, I've said it multiple times in our group chats and everything. You guys are coming out next year. I don't care if you have to skip PAX. You are coming out here because I cannot handle Tokyo Game Show on my own. I need help. So I was able to go to Tokyo Game Show for the press days / the content creator days for Thursday and Friday. I did not go on the public days because I didn't feel like getting smushed. So I got to try out a bunch of demos, both AAA, indie games, got to talk with a lot of people, network and everything. It was a lot of fun. So if you haven't seen it already, check out the playlists literally titled TGS 2022. Check it out. We still have a couple more videos going in there later today and tomorrow, but make sure you check that out to get all the shorts and the videos and everything that we got. So got to try things out. Like I got to try out Crisis Core, which was a lot of fun on the PlayStation 5, and the Switch version was also there. And I got to talk with some people there about how much fun they had with it and how well it ran. It ran pretty well, all things considered. I got to try out Sonic Frontiers. I got to try out Like a Dragon, Ishin. Those are both very fun games. I got to try out a ton of indie games, including one that is nowhere near ready to be released or anything like that. I'm gonna have a video on all those indie games and everything like that. But I talked to a lot of the developers there, which was really cool. Got to meet Yoshida-san, which was cool. Saw him playing a Lethal. I believe you met him at PAX, actually. You got to take a picture of him. I saw him playing a lot of indie games and everything like that. So that was really cool. And then I actually got to play Forspoken. So, which I know our local boy Chin is a little concerned about it. Some of the stuff is not there that he was concerned about. Others, there are concerns when it comes to that and everything. So there was a lot shown. I mean, for the most part, it was all Japanese games for the most part, right? Again, Square games, Konami, Sega, everything. That was all there. So,
except for Xbox.
Yeah. So
it was there for
it was super weird. So like Xbox, as we know, over the last few years has really been trying to get its foot back into the countries over here, whether it's Japan, Asia itself, you name it, right? And there were so like over at Sega, whether it was the giant backroom poster for Sonic or for Like a Dragon, they had all of this, all of the titles for what consoles are going for. So Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, right? But then in certain trailers, they never even mention Xbox, right? Or like for the collector's editions for some things, like this only for PlayStation and Switch. Or there were even some posters in the big main areas where they would say, it's coming to every console in the trailer. And then up on the poster, it would not have Xbox up there for some reason, right?
Here's the thing, like with Xbox, right? Xbox does really well in North America.
Yeah.
That's like 90% of their customer base, whereas like Sony is a little more spread out worldwide, and Nintendo just dominates everything, right? In terms of spread. Xbox is really trying to get those inroads in Japan, but then they don't do things like buy JRPGs, right? Like they don't buy Japanese games. And that, like, you can see that when you sent that message and you were like, yeah, they have like all this collector stuff for Crisis Core, but nowhere is there anything about Microsoft on there, even though there's supposed to be a version for that.
Yep.
I was like, no, it's because Japanese gamers don't care, because Microsoft doesn't really care about Japan other than like wanting those numbers and that money, right?
Well,
versus like,
yeah. So like because then it was Thursday night Japan time, because it was after. So TGS actually closed very early. It closed by 5 p.m. basically, right? And after that, if I remember, it was like 9 p.m. Japan time or something like that. But right as I got home, they had the Microsoft like live stream essentially of it, right? I don't think anyone from Xbox was here at TGS. I could be wrong, but for the most part, it was a bunch of still doing a lot of the online stuff, which made sense. I get that. So they showed off a bunch of games from Japan that are coming onto the Game Pass and everything, right? Which is great. Finally those Xbox players can get to play some of those games. Persona, they showed off Guilty Gear, Blast Blue, which is awesome. Those are amazing fighting games. And for those games particularly, this is like a second breath of wind for them, essentially, to get more players on there and everything like that. So yeah, Xbox players, this is your chance to prove that you want to see more of these games on your consoles. Download these, give Xbox that data. We know we're never going to see those numbers and everything on from Game Pass, but
go download them, buy them.
That too, buy them, right? So support them, be there for them. If you guys always say you want to have them, now is your chance. You're going to get them. So play them, right?
Yeah.
So
pay money. Don't just pay Game Pass, because that doesn't help you show Square or whoever develops it that you're willing to put up money for it. You're just giving Microsoft money. Like pay for the game if you want the game.
Or if you get the game, if you're playing it on Game Pass, buy the DLC. There's gonna be DLC characters probably, right? Or anything like that. So again, make sure you do that. But anyway, but during their live stream and everything like that, so at first they obviously had their good showing off everything that's coming to Game Pass and Xbox finally, and then they randomly started throwing in other more Western games that have been out for like 5 years, like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, for some strange reason. It just felt like I get you want to announce that, but why at the Tokyo Game Show?
Well, like here's how I view that is they had time to fill.
Yeah, it
and
felt like
they have nothing coming out for the rest of this year. They have nothing new to say about the stuff that they've already shown off, right? Like Redfall, or
they showed Redfall briefly for the TGS stream, if I remember correctly, but it was very brief.
Okay.
It was brief though, and I don't think it was anything new that we hadn't seen
Yeah.
from the big
Which-
E3 reveal and everything like that. So,
Exactly. And that's what I was saying, right? They have nothing new for those big games like Starfield or Redfall that are supposed to come out next year.
and all
So
but then after I saw the entirety of their live stream and everything like that, I looked back at all the titles released and everything, and I went online and I said, okay, obviously things like Guilty Gear and Persona we know have been out on the other consoles, so it's finally coming to Xbox. But then I checked out some of the other ones that we haven't seen, and they're coming out in like 2023 and stuff, and I Googled each one of them. Every single one of them, to my knowledge, except for I think one game, is going out on every other platform. So it's clear that the stream for Xbox was more pointed towards the Western audience again, even though again, it's at Tokyo Game Show, which at that time, particularly when it's being streamed, mostly people over here in Japan are going to be watching it, not the West. The West was all sleeping, right? It was like 4 a.m. your time. So, so everyone who saw that though was probably just like, okay, cool announcement. I'm going to buy it on my PS5, my PS4, my Switch. Right? For most of those JRPGs and everything. And again, that's just simply how it is in Japan, right? People are more likely here, especially, to buy a JRPG or some game from Japan and play it on their Japanese console, not a foreign console or a Western console. That's just how people here in Japan are. That's just is.
That's the culture. It's the culture.
It's all the culture, right? It's all about culture and everything like that.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, you know, it's that's the thing that Microsoft took too long to try to make inroads in Japan.
Yeah.
And they're trying to make up for it now, but like Sony's put that work in for like 30 years.
Well, and I was half expecting to see one or two games that were either a JRPG or some kind of game from like, you know, Team Ninja or something like that you can only get on Xbox. Like have an incentive for the Japanese player base to want to play that game, right? Like, even if it's a spin-off, like obviously we know, you know, Final Fantasy 7 Part 2 cannot be exclusive on Xbox. That was never going to happen. But have a spin-off game or something like that, whether it's Final Fantasy or Tales of Symphonia or the thousands of JRPGs that are out there, right? Have an exclusive on Xbox.
And that's my thing.
Does. Yeah,
that's my thing that I've been saying to all these people, like Microsoft. I said this last time too. Microsoft has infinite money. If they thought, hey, people really want these Japanese RPG style games, like we're gonna find an old one and pay to have like the Final Fantasy 7 remake style done. They've got money to do that. They could throw $500 million out like they did in Halo and have like the best JRPG remake ever. But they don't, because they know that their audience doesn't care. Yeah. Right? At least that's the data shows them.
Well, the data must be showing them that, right?
Yeah,
because
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know. I feel like there are times where everyone is saying like we would play these games if they're on the consoles, but the data must show them. Because I remember when you put out that tweet and everything, a lot of people kept bringing up what was that latest game from Bandai? Like there were a couple games from Japan that are on Game Pass, and people were saying like it does really well in Xbox. I'm blanking on.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, was it about Scarlet
Nexus. Yeah, they kept bringing up Scarlet Nexus, and I'm like, yeah, and like the numbers did well across the board there last I checked. So
yeah, on every platform.
On every platform.
It's a good game.
Right, so it was a good game. So I'm like,
but let's compare like, and then you might see the devs go, yeah, actually Game Pass was good for us.
Right, because it gives the game a second breath of life essentially.
But here's the thing, like ask them like comparatively, like how many sales did they get on like PC, Switch, and Nintendo, and what was the percentage of sales they got after the Game Pass deal? Was it like we sold like a total of 10% of our things on Xbox, and we probably wouldn't have sold that much if not for Game Pass, that might be true, right? But 10% overall is not great.
Well, I wonder if from what I've been seeing from the Japanese developers and the companies when it comes to something like Game Pass, most of them seem to like it after the game's been released for a while. They seem to, aside from indie games, I can't speak for the small indie game developers. The big ones though do not like day one Game Pass.
Yep,
that makes sense. To my knowledge, unless they have some kind of live service built into it, that they can continue to make money off of it, because the way Game Pass works is no one's buying the game. Everyone's just part of the service, essentially, right? It's like being part of Netflix, right? No one goes out and now buys a ton of movies that you can just get on Netflix now. Right?
Yeah, that's the way I like, because you see a bunch of people like, well, I buy my games on Game Pass. It's like, yeah, you're probably part of like 2% of people who do that. Like, and I get it. Like, if I was super casual and I only had $350 and I wanted to game, 100% Game Pass, Series S,
absolutely,
right?
Yes, absolutely.
And I play what comes on there because it's super cheap. Now for me, I have a computer, I have a Switch, I have two Switch, I have PS5, right? I'm good. Like, I'll play what I want anywhere I want to, right? And I'm cool with that. And yeah, I had to spend a lot of money to get that set up, right? Same thing you guys have got, right?
Yep.
We had to pay a lot of money for our setups, but that's because like this is our main hobby, right?
Yep.
But not everybody can do that. And when you can't do that, yeah, Game Pass is cool. But the fact that so many people on Twitter, and again, I'll say it again, Twitter is not a real place, right? Like, Twitter's fun for conversations, but when you go like, everybody on Twitter says they buy their Game Pass games, it's like, yeah, first of all, Twitter's like 5% of people on the planet. And then you got to get those people who are only into Xbox, and then people who buy Game Pass and then actually do it. Of course, they're going to see, oh, this person who I follow who's all about Game Pass says they buy their games. Yeah, I'm going to tell them I buy my games too. And yeah, maybe you do, but like, you're targeted to have that niche audience that's there to back you up. Right? Like,
here's the thing. I think if their claims of so many people buying games from Game Pass, right? Not having Game Pass, but buying games on Game Pass, I think Xbox would have released that data. I think they would have said like, hey,
I think if Xbox Game Pass was doing as well as they said, they wouldn't have it on sale for $1 for 3 months all the time.
That too. But they told us from the beginning that, you know, this was a loss from the beginning. Like, we've known that for years. Right?
Oh yeah, but like $1 for 3 months.
Yeah,
like that's taking one hell of a loss.
That is a big loss. So
that's a huge
and one
loss.
thing I do notice that you're starting to see now, and it's funny because it's actually from Japanese games, is some games are leaving Game Pass now. Final Fantasy, all the Final Fantasy 13 games, to my knowledge, are about their contracts are about to come up, right? So those games are not going to be on the Xbox Game Pass anymore, and I'm sure there are going to be others as well. And now Xbox has told us from the beginning that it's all based on contracts. So as long as those contracts keep going, they'll stay on Game Pass. If they don't, though, they're going to go away. So, but people are starting to freak out about it now. And I'm just like, guys, they've told us this from the beginning. I don't know why you guys are freaking out.
If Game Pass was bolstering sales, they would sign those contracts. Game Pass is not bolstering sales because Xbox players don't care about JRPGs, and that's fine. Again, we had this conversation earlier, right? Lethal was like, yo, fuck Peakman, because he doesn't give a shit, right? And the guys who play FIFA and Halo don't give a shit, right? Like, they don't care about, you know, Final Fantasy 15 Royal Edition. They don't care, and that's fine. But like, the small subsection that does care, you gotta like talk to Microsoft about they're not stepping up on their end because they know. So if you want to like complain about anything, complain to Microsoft, because they're the ones who, they have infinite money. They could throw money and go, hey, we still want that on Game Pass. We're gonna give you 4 times as much money, and I guarantee any company would take it. I guarantee it. But they're not, because they're going, we would have made more, like the same amount of sales regardless, and now we just are stuck with less people buying this game, and they're just playing it for free. And
everyone wants that live service money, right? I mean, I'm sure Xbox will look at some of these games and be like, is there a live service included in this? Nope.
Good thing it's on PS Plus. That's right, Brian.
So, you know, it's something just to keep in mind, right? I admire that Xbox is trying to get those Japanese games onto Xbox Game Pass for its Western audience, which is great, especially for those who play it, because people who only have Game Pass, they're going to be browsing occasionally here and there, and they might come across Persona, they might come across Guilty Gear and all these other games, right? And then they'll actually give them a try, and they might like them, and then go purchase these other games and everything. Like hopefully that's what their hope is, right? I just felt like the live stream was kind of lackluster, because it's kind of like, okay, you finally have these games on your system now. where are the exclusives, or where are the other games that the other consoles are getting on these days, right? And again, I know people are going to go in the comments and be like, Sony is buying the exclusivity. Microsoft can outbid them. You kidding me? Microsoft probably makes 10 times the money Sony makes. They can easily come in and be
what I say all the time.
Right. And again, this is something we've also talked about as well. It's a culture thing. Square, I think, would rather make a deal with another Japanese company than with a Western company. That's just the way it is, especially because they're all headed by these older generation dudes, essentially. Like, I'm talking 60, 70-year-old dudes. They're like, no, we've been partnered or done deals and things like that with Square for 30 plus years. Why am I going to go make a deal with this other one, even if they are offering more money, right?
Yep. Because they know they can trust that company that they've worked with for that long.
Right. They've built that trust, and they know the sales are going to go through. Now they could also maybe look and see like, oh, Game Pass gives us this initial huge buttload of money in the beginning, but then any sales that are made on the game are going to go down significantly because it's just available on this day one Game Pass thing or whatever, right?
Yep.
That's how they look at it. Again, Game Pass has been amazing for something like the indie games and everything like that's been amazing for them, right? But not so much for the bigger ones. So it's just something to keep an eye on. So last thing that we'll quickly talk about real quick as we try to wrap this up, because we've been going for quite a while here, is so Square obviously had Forspoken, they had Crisis Core, Capcom had they had Persona in a corner. Actually, I didn't go play it though, but they had Sonic, and they had Like a Dragon. I'll rank them in terms of how much fun I had in terms of playing the games. I'm gonna go Crisis Core, Like a Dragon, Forspoken, Sonic is how I'm gonna rank them in terms of me playing them, everything like. And again, we have individual videos up on the channel. Check out each and every single one of those. Make sure you check those out if you haven't already. But I will say Crisis Core was the most fun. It was fun to jump in. All of the updates that they've taken from Part 1 Final Fantasy VII and integrated those into this game, made the combat more responsive, added in extra gameplay elements, while keeping the same stuff that Crisis Core has been known for. It was absolutely a lot of fun. Like a Dragon was over the top, fun, chaotic, crazy at some points, but it was still a fun game. Forspoken, combat is flashy, big, and actually pretty fun. But some of the critiques that we saw from whether it's Chin's video or people online, they're real. And that stupid gauntlet needs to shut up already. Oh my gosh, listen to that thing talk every 5 seconds. No, I am not even joking on this. I talked with other people as well. Everyone unanimously was just like, this is so, like, I'm tired of hearing that gauntlet. Like, and Square's even came out apparently and said they've included an option now for how often it talks. Like, that's how much backlash they've gotten about it. So it wasn't, of course, it wasn't available in the demo though, so I couldn't do that. So it was annoying to listen to the little shit and everything like that.
But combat was good.
Combat was fun.
Good, yeah.
It was fun. I wish we had gotten the water ability, so we only had the fire and the earth abilities. It's a bit of a learning curve, but the combat was extremely fun. The fire sword one though, the just hack and slash type of magic, not the greatest. That I think a lot of people are just going to skip and not really use, unfortunately. So
I mean, if they're smart, they're going to make it so you, like, in certain situations you have to use certain things.
Probably,
right?
Yeah.
Right.
Probably. I mean, they have your typical.
There's gonna be way more.
Right. Yeah. They have your typical Final Fantasy thing where it's like, fire does well against this enemy, but it's these enemies are resistant against it. Water, the typical thing that we've come to know from those type of games and everything. And then Sonic was fun. I enjoyed the 3D, 2D levels, your more typical Sonic stuff. The open world, I just don't like it. I really don't. And again, I know I'm not the biggest Sonic fan. I know I'm not Iron. I know I'm not, the current audience that's probably trying to go for, but I loved Generations. I actually love Sonic Generations. I love the combo. It's a great game. I love the combo between 2D and 3D. I absolutely love that. But the whole open world aspect thing, and you guys, if you see it in the video that we posted already, I got to record a guy who was there. He definitely went back and forth in the game. Like, he got back in line like 3 times. And I got to record he actually called me over. He says, hey, you want to record the full boss battle, like that giant tower boss with the 3 arms and everything?
Yeah.
I got to record that entire thing. And I was just like, okay, sir. All right. let's see how it works out, Sega. I hope it works out well. I really do. I really do. But I
Lethal,
don't
are you
know.
changing your background lights? Or is that just me losing my mind?
I think you're losing your mind. I don't think. Oh, they changed it a little bit. Just
no,
barely.
I think it's a little bit of you, Bobby. Just a little bit.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just losing my mind.
He's losing.
It
his
looks
mind
like it's.
right
I swear, it looks like it's changing hues and stuff behind you.
No,
Right.
I don't know if it's the chair. I don't know.
Oh, maybe it's like
Maybe it
picking
is.
up.
Maybe it's
Yeah.
like
Might be
picking
the
up
light. It
something.
might be the light as you just simply move
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everything like that.
I'm losing it.
Yeah.
It's
Again,
alright.
No,
we're
you're-
gonna be
you're-
wrapping
you're
this up,
good.
this podcast up here.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of the game, those big games I got to try out and everything, that's how I would rank them. Again, they were all fun to play. You know, it's fun going to those conventions and just trying the demos out and everything. But yeah, that's how I ranked them. So
Yeah,
Lethal,
I want
know
to check
you're-
out Forspoken, but what do you
Yeah.
think, Lethal? Because like I know you're hyped about Forspoken, right?
I'm still incredibly hyped for Forspoken and Sonic, the two games that maybe not the greatest, but I mean, I figured, we had this discussion already in one of the other podcasts. Like Forspoken, I already know it's gonna be a game where I just want to have some fun, like throwing out different spells and shit like that. Like I'm not going in there thinking that's gonna be my game of the year or whatever. I'm just more excited to play a game that kind of focuses on something that I feel like I don't play enough of, which is like spell casting.
you're
don't
gonna love
know-
that. I said it before.
I can't think of a game.
it's super
Yeah,
fun.
I can't think of a game that I've played that's something of that aspect, like of that kind of gameplay. So for me, like that's gonna feel like a one of a kind, and so I'm excited for that part of it alone.
Yeah.
And in Sonic, I mentioned before, I've always been a 3D Sonic person. The adventure games those are my games, and so for me, like this is gonna be like, you know, kind of back a little bit into that. I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I've also heard those same criticisms from a lot of people who've also played it. So I mean, I'm just gonna have to just like, you know, play it on my own because I'm still definitely want to see that.
And that's the same to everyone, right? If you
Of course.
truly like that style of game, then you have to play it. You have to let us know what are your thoughts on it and everything. Just because
Yeah.
I don't like a game doesn't mean Lethal can't like a game. Clearly, I mean he's more hyped about it than I am. But at the same time, all of us, you know, we understand that there are certain criticisms that are appropriate towards how some mechanics work and everything like that. Like Forspoken's combat, like I've stated before many times, it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun to play. But the open world, it's pretty barren. So I'm hoping that the full release has way more to do and everything, but it's not the greatest open world, I would say. So, and I think it's fair to compare that to other games, whether it's in the same genre or the same type of game or anything like that. It's fair to make those comparisons, because guess what? If we don't, others are. So it's just the way it is. I think with that being said, though, we've pretty much covered everything, unless there's something else you guys quickly want to say before we wrap it up here.
I was just gonna quickly say, like, for the Capcom aspect of the TGS, I did see a lot of updates coming out of that, and I would say, like, I feel like they just did really good for me personally. Like that, there was a lot of announcements there for Capcom that I was so excited for. Like to see the rest of the roster for Street Fighter 6. I remember waking up and just seeing like all the characters and more stuff for that coming out. I can't wait. The battle tour mode looks so freaking cool.
I wanted to play
You
it,
didn't
but
get a
they
chance to play
had
that one, right? No,
I didn't get a chance to play it because they had a huge line at the Capcom booth, and they had like 20 plus TVs set up, right, for you to play it. There's a 3-hour wait at 10 a.m. when it opened. I was just like, nope, sorry, not happening. Not happening.
I can imagine. I mean, everybody's extremely excited for it. Like even me, like, you know, I haven't dabbled in a fighting game and God knows how long. Like I just haven't been interested in them. But like I said, like Tekken 8 and Street Fighter 6, for whatever reason, they are capturing me. Like I'm excited to actually dive back into the fighting genre a bit more. So
I love
just
Street Fighter, you know.
Yeah.
Like
dude. And this
fighter.
the new one just looks so good. Like there's something about it where it's just like, okay, I have to give this one a shot. And I think it's like what I was kind of getting into. You know, they touched upon it at TGS, which is like that new battle tour mode where you're making your own custom character. And sometimes those modes, like I don't know how I feel about them, but for whatever reason, it's working with me for this game. Just the fact that like, you know, you can choose your different mentor from the different fighters. You learn their moves and stuff like that. They seem to have like a big little thing going on with that, with going into like, I think it's like a city and being able to explore the city in Street Fighter, and then going into an online hub world where you can join different matches and do stuff like that. Like it just seems fun, and so I think that's what's getting me into it. Is that it looks like it's just gonna be a lot of fun, and I think that was probably one of the bigger announcements. But the biggest one, real quick to top that, was that they talked about Mega Man Battle Network, the Legacy Collection, because me too, and I've been getting so hyped about that. But the biggest thing that they announced was the fact that they're bringing in the online features for the games for online battling and some chip trading, and so to me, that's just like, that is peak. That is peak of what I could have asked to see at Capcom, yes, but also at TGS. So those two things, big for me.
I think it's real crazy, especially like with Capcom. Like, you just bring up the Mega Man Battle Network, right? I was so hyped about the original Mega Man Legacy because, like, that's my day, right? I'm old as shit. So, like, the original, like, I remember playing the original Mega Man when it was fairly new, and Mega Man 2 when it was new, right? Those games are classics, but it's great to see that they have this new like Battle Network game coming out, and people like, because you and Toon are like years younger than me, right? So seeing you guys get so hyped about that, like, it just makes me feel good because Mega Man, I just love Mega Man, you know?
Yeah, dude,
even
we need
though
more
like
Mega
those
Man.
are,
We need more Mega Man.
Yeah,
I know we really do.
Well, I
Mega
guarantee you
Man.
this is
I
going to be a
hope this
test for
works.
them to see if they want to make more Mega Man games going forward. So
Yeah.
buy the
This is the Battle
game.
Network series. Yeah,
Want to see
hope so.
more?
I'm
Buy
praying
the
for
game.
praying for
Support it.
That's all you got to do. Buy games. Don't download them off the internet. Don't play them on Game Pass or PS Plus, and then never buy them.
Yep.
You want to do it, but
Gotta
like I
support
just
it.
bought Black Flag. It was like $10, but I bought it again.
I just
Like,
bought,
'cause I
actually,
was
it's
like,
funny.
oh,
Bring up
ooh,
Black
PS4
Flag. I
version.
just bought the remaster of Assassin's Creed 3, and that game is
There
actually
you go.
Nice.
so.
Yeah, I gotta get that one still.
I'm gonna make a video on it later on in the year. So yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think with that being said, though, we're gonna wrap up the podcast here. Thank you so much for everyone that stopped by. It was a lot of fun chatting with you guys live and just talking about everything here. Whether you're watching this live with us right now or in video, if you happen to enjoy this type of content or any of the other videos that we have, make sure you leave a like on the video and don't forget to sub as always. It's actually really does help us. Leave a comment, all that stuff. We're super close to 2,000 subs, so make sure you support if you enjoy all the content. So anyway, I've been Talon with 59 Direct, joined by again Bobby and Lethal, the usual team. Chin will hopefully be here next time, but keep an eye out for his GTA 6 video. It's probably gonna be a banger. So anyway, we'll see you guys in the next one. Johnny.